So I reiterate here, the bill is dead.
The story of this great city is about the years before this night. We are free!
Hey everybody, it's a new episode of Ho Hong Kong and we are going nuts with the guests. This is what, 2 or 3 weeks in a row, Vivek?
That's right, we're having guests, and more guests.
And more guests. Yes, so we were back full circle. We started with only guests, and then during COVID, we decided they were just going to talk to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we were not legally allowed to talk to anyone else.
Exactly. We were not legally to be our guests.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then now we're back on the guest train, and we have a very special guest. But before we get to our guest, Vivek, how are you doing, man?
I'm pretty good, man. I mean, the good thing is actually I did a show at the hospital yesterday.
What?
Yeah, I was actually at the Hong Kong Eye Hospital doing a show during lunchtime for
Wait a
the
second.
medical staff.
Eye hospital, is that like eye hospital, like Apple Eye Hospital?
Everyone thinks that, but it's EYE.
Oh, like
Yeah,
the
it's
actual eye.
eye hospital. Yeah, I know,
Okay.
right? So the funny thing is they actually have a floor that is an eye bank. EYE bank.
I am so confused.
Lord.
I know. I was like, what the hell is this place, right? But the ironic thing is during the whole show...
Ironic.
I'm throwing it out there, man. I know what I'm talking about. The best part is during the whole performance, pretty much all the staff there wearing glasses. I was like, I think you're on the wrong side of the table. You should be the patient, not the worker here.
There
right?
is a lot of people like in a certain like an eye doctor, for example, that they have bad eyesight.
Yeah.
I have seen 3 different, or how do you say that? Orthodontist is like the guy with who
teeth
fixes
thing?
the teeth.
Yeah.
But not just a regular dentist, like the one who like
The braces guy.
And the braces guy, and the teeth are just completely fucked.
Yeah.
3 different people.
You're like,
know
I don't
one of
trust
them is a
this.
friend. He probably knows who he is.
But
He's a heavy smoker.
Yeah.
Never. It's like, what is wrong
Oh my
with
god!
you?
I bet you it's one of the humility things. Like I'm so busy serving, I have no time to serve myself.
Actually,
one of those
he is
things, right?
super successful. Like, he's in Hong Kong.
That's
he's
probably
like
why.
At HK, he's like teaching, and he's like a really high
High-level professor,
professor, whatever. Bad teeth.
Bad
Just
teeth.
bad.
Oh man! I think it's one of those things where he went through the hell of it, and he's like, you know what, I want to give back to society now, right?
Sure.
One of those things, yeah.
So wait, how did you do the eye test?
I show basically. So in other words, it was just like I knew some people that are connected to the hospital authority in Hong Kong, and they were like, "Hey, would you be interested in doing comedy show for the medical staff?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah.
So they organized everything. I go there, I do the show. It's hilarious because like you have some people there. You know medical staff, right? They're like, "All right, here we're at a lecture theater, we're at a lecture hall." They're all sitting looking at me. They're like, "Okay, what are we gonna learn today?" And I'm here in the comedy. Hey, I got help that. I'm doing that, right? And you can see it takes a little while for them to break.
Yes.
They're like, "This is not right. This guy is sick."
Was there any other entertainment before you?
No.
No opening act. Just you.
It's the classic, like, let's just get some staff to like, okay, I got home, and come on, today we're very happy to have a special guest with us who will try to bring us some laughter. Please welcome Avi. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Golf
then, like,
claps,
very,
golf claps, everyone's
Yeah. And I'm like, and like everyone's been like, they're like, oh, hold on. They knew it's a comedy show, but they were like, they're not used to it. Clearly, the staff is not good at comedy nights, right? So it was fun for me. I did that, and then after that, I had to go straight to a school in a Victoria Shanghai Academy in Wong Chuk Hang. It's like an international school, and I was performing for two teachers. Part of their mental well-being week, they had me as one, for them to have a little laugh, right? So the funny thing, we're in this black box. Okay, we were told to go to the black box, and unfortunately, maybe the teachers don't go there very often. Nobody knew where it was.
Right.
Yeah, you work there.
On campus, they don't know where the venue is.
They were confused because the email said 10th floor, apparently it's on the 9th floor.
All right.
But because you get out of the 9th floor, they're having exams. You got to go down to the 8th floor to go through the tunnel to get to the 9th floor.
Yeah.
And I show up and I'm like, wow. I mean, I guess you're so focused on your job that you don't care about the black box. You're like, I'm with the test papers and that's about it. Yeah. So that was my day.
Did they happen to eat any cake by any chance on the?
Well, I feel like they probably did, and that's why they got lost with all that sugar in their body. They're like, I'm dazed, I'm sugar crashing right now. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, so that's what we call in the business a segue into our guest.
Exactly.
Hello.
Okay, so today's guest, we have actually, Karys, I'll let you introduce yourself because I think you wear too many hats, as they say. Like you do a lot of stuff that are maybe not even related. I don't know which one you like to identify as.
Yeah.
Sure.
What is your career pronouns? That's what he's asking.
Ooh,
Career
Yeah,
pronouns.
my career
So, Karys
pronouns.
Plaxe,
We're diving right in.
Very happy to have you.
Hi guys,
Yeah.
thank
Hey,
you so
yes.
much. Happy
Thanks for
to be
being
here. My name's Karys Plaxe. In terms of career hats, my
Yes.
most comfortable and longest term career hat has been pastry chef. In an ironic twist, you mentioned orthodontist with terrible teeth.
Yes.
I'm a pastry chef who
Yeah.
doesn't like to eat sweets.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah, okay.
sorry.
So you're
Ooh.
the Steve Jobs that invented the iPad but doesn't let his kids use it.
Exactly,
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
I'm like cake, but meh, not for me.
Yeah. All right, good enough.
So I've been a cake lady here in Hong Kong for 7 years.
Yeah.
And it's been a really beautiful path. I've done fine dining. I've done so sort of like French ex-Cantonese cuisine,
Yeah.
and then
Wait. French ex-Cantonese, as in like French, but just broke up with Cantonese cuisine? Wait, what?
Yeah,
Oh,
like-
slash Cantonese, you mean?
French/Cantonese.
Oh, so you meant
like
French ex-Cantonese as in
like a
French/Cantonese.
Fujuk Tong Soy Milfoy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, like,
Like-
actual like fusion.
Fusion. I worked
Wow.
at a restaurant called Vea, VEA, with
Okay.
Vicky Chang. He now has Wing, and he's made like amazing strides with that. Like he's well known for it.
So let me guess, it's French fine dining with the Cantonese attitude of like, eat that food now.
Honestly, like part of it was it's like French fine dining, but
Yeah.
with the Cantonese attitude of like I'm gonna scroll on my phone and not eat the food at all.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that's-
No. He makes amazing food, but dining or serving there was interesting because so many guests are there just like for the photos.
Of the photos? Oh, yeah.
But I think Wing, his like next concept has gotten again really warm feedback because it's like really soulful and
Yeah.
people are super enjoying it. I've all good things to say about Vicky
Yeah.
and Vea and all the things, but I worked there for a few years
Yeah.
and then I moved to Black Sheep.
Yeah.
So I've worked for Black Sheep for the last 6 years as of last week, and now
6 years.
6 years, yeah, five and a half, 6 years, give or
So
take. It
by-
feels
You
like
joined
60.
them pre-COVID or COVID time-ish.
Right at the time of COVID. Like I joined and I was like, I've never seen any of my cooks' faces before.
Yeah.
And so it was like the unveiling. And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't
You're
know
like
any.
put the masks back on.
Yeah, you're like, I don't
Yeah,
know
you're like,
anyone,
yeah,
and maybe
no.
that's the best.
Yeah.
So I joined them at a really interesting time, and we went from basically the pastry kitchen served, I don't know, 15 restaurants.
Yeah.
All by like WhatsApp group. It was super disorganized.
Yeah.
To this like giant pastry like empire. Proud
Yeah.
to say. So
I
we
would not be surprised. When I was young, I would think like, oh, these people, they got the stuff together. You work there. You're like, what the hell? How do you work?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like the play. Are you making all of this pastry just at the actual location of butter?
Yeah, so
What?
the location of butter that you see on Staunton Street, we're making
Yeah.
everything for all the restaurants. It's really like it's an amazing production space.
But
Super
it seems
vibrant.
quite small, no?
For one restaurant, it's
Yeah.
great. For
Yeah.
35, 40
Yeah.
restaurants, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
it's a full tilt space, but the team that I have working with me was really talented. They
Yeah.
are really talented. And we expanded from 15-ish restaurants
Yeah.
to more than 30 restaurants during the time that I was there.
Yeah.
So
Well, during the
Wow.
process, now you do pastries and everything, and does it bother you when people eat bad pastry and they compliment it and say it's good pastry?
I know where this is going.
Oh, I'm so
Go
curious to
ahead.
hear what you're leading
Yeah,
into
yeah.
here. I mean,
Like-
I think people as a whole have bad taste in a lot of things, including
yeah.
myself. I have
Yeah.
terrible taste in certain things. That's okay. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to be judged. So if people have terrible taste in pastry, but they love what they love,
Yeah.
get after it.
Yeah,
Like,
But
yeah.
actually, like in our world, like we talk about the Vivek and I's, like when people are like, when there is a stand-up comedian who are like us as comedians are like, what the fuck, man?
yeah,
this
you're like,
is-
that's not funny at all.
This is not funny
Like,
at all,
Yeah.
or like what we call hacky. It's like, easy joke, and people are just like eating it up. Like I went on public many times. I say I do not like the style of Uncle Roger.
Uncle Roger, oh,
like
yeah.
at all. I don't find him funny at all. I find the whole thing's like, okay, it's good for like a 3-minute video. You can't have a whole career out of this. This is insane. But also, I am here and he's doing fucking arenas.
Yeah.
So who am I to judge?
Exactly,
But
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I have friends who are like not in the business, like normal civilians,
and they think it's great.
they
And
send it to me all the time. They're like, "Can you bring it to Hong Kong? Is this guy super funny?" I'm like, "I want to kill myself."
Yeah.
you're like, no, absolutely not. But
Yes.
But again, everyone should
Yeah.
have their guilty pleasures, and like if someone likes something that I think is kind of trash,
Yeah. but one point,
Yes.
do you feel like as a pastry chef yourself that you have a certain responsibility / service to society to teach people like you're ruining your life by eating from this particular place? Like,
ruining your life.
But actually,
Wow.
wait, do you
take
acknowledge-
pastry more seriously than I do. I love it. You're like,
Because no, I mean, like it's very rare that something affects me to a point where I literally look at it and be like, I cannot be in the same space as people who are enjoying this, you know.
Funny enough, you are in the same space of the place you are referring to.
No, I'm definitely not in the same space. As in,
You
like,
are in the same block.
You can, okay, yeah, I'm in a 5-minute distance from
Yes.
it.
So can you
The
guess?
shade
what-
rattle.
Yeah.
No, it's like our listeners.
Oh,
like,
they all
there's
know.
entire episodes trashing that place, and he is gonna mention
Like,
it.
let me tell you
Okay,
something. I am not the type of guy to trash. I'm not one of those like you suck. And I'm always very like, you know, come on, we can get it done. I'm very the typical like you can do it if you want to give it your heart and everything. But when something bothers me to that point where I trash it, dude, that must have really
It's
pissed me
done.
off.
It's done. Dragging
Yes.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
What are
so
we dragging?
There's a place near in Staunton Street side. This bakery, unfortunately, somebody managed to register it, and the Hong Kong Business Registration Department approved of their license. It's called Vission.
Oh, of course we know Vision.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like how you pronounce it.
Yeah,
you make it sound, you're giving it fancy.
I'm trying to make it I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. I gave everything. I gave it chances. I bought stuff there multiple times. It sucked every single time.
It's messy food.
It's messy food. It's terrible. It's trash.
By the
it's-
way, episode 205, the whole thing, there is a 49-minute episode pretty much trashing Vision.
Yeah.
So,
How did I miss this? I was downloading things and listening to you
Yeah,
guys on
okay.
like my flights back and forth, and
Oh, really?
somehow I
Every now and
skipped
then?
this
Oh, man.
Vision.
Oh, yeah.
This was just.
is that how you say it? Vision? We don't
Vision?
even
No,
know.
I mean I would just say Vision, but
Yeah.
I think
I'm
you're
giving
probably
it.
more right.
I'm trying. I'm
Vision.
trying so
You're
hard. Like, I
elevating.
want
tried,
them to
yes.
succeed. I literally
Did
bought
you-
stuff with them.
You don't want them to succeed anymore. It's okay. It's okay. Let's just call a spade
no-
a spade.
Honestly, I think they one upped me. Like as much as I don't want them to succeed, they are successfully not succeeding by sucking. You get it?
Yeah,
So,
they're.
That's what I mean. Like, okay, so let's say as
Wait,
a
yeah,
comedian,
is there acknowledgement, just like I was saying about like a bad comedian, that like, is there acknowledgement from your side, or
Within-
are you
within
gonna
the-
like,
the
within the
industry,
business
yeah.
that you're like,
I'm not gonna like shovel too deep into it because
Yeah.
again, they've got a line. They're like they're doing their thing, but I just see it as messy food. Like
Yeah.
when you see something and you're like, that's impractical to eat. I'm gonna try and bite into that croissant and it's gonna get all over my shirt.
Yes.
Like you have to realize that's not like at some level that's just not good food. Food
Yeah,
should
yeah,
be
yeah.
able to be eaten.
correct,
You know?
yeah, and
So
not all on the floor. As much as their food technically it crumbles, and they realize because their food is not worth eating, so they're doing you a service by letting it crumble everywhere. They're like, dude, I can't believe you bought our shit, so
Yes.
let us
let
help you.
me help you
to
for
just
at
throw
least
it
a
on the
third
floor.
of it
Yeah,
to be
so
like
you feel
on
no
your
guilt.
top, in the box, on the
Exactly.
napkin, on the floor.
Yeah, you're welcome for letting me waste my
so
food for you.
technically, how do you fuck up by making it too that messy, like in the
I
prep
think
in the kitchen?
I think what's happening is
Yeah.
people in this day and age. So it's basically like a baseline requirement that all humans are foodies now. Everyone
Yes,
has to have
everyone's
an
got- yeah, food,
opinion
yeah.
about
Yes.
where is the best and where is this, and that means that all food establishments have to make complicated and often messy
Yeah,
food where you're
right.
like, this isn't just a croissant, it's a matcha mocha brownie explosion, and you're like, fuck off with that.
Yeah.
Like, can
I
I
just want
just
the chocolate,
can I just
yeah.
have something delicious?
yeah,
Like,
and just have a regular croissant that is
like,
good.
sorry to like plug it, but like, can you just have a slice of red velvet cake? Go around
Yeah.
the corner, have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
beautiful slice of red velvet cake.
Yeah.
It's great,
Yes.
and it's not gonna get on your
All the
tongue.
place,
Like,
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're gonna eat something that's true food, and so I think people are trying so hard to one up themselves that they create like catastrophes.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah,
Unfortunately.
But how does it become so flaky? Like, why does it, like?
Oh
technically,
God, this is not the podcast that you want to have me on. The how does it become so flaky is such a pun
Technical.
intended layered question. No, so making croissants is a really fascinating process. I won't bore anyone with it,
Yeah.
but actually making it flaky means giving it less folds, which makes like less time and less technique, and then the flakes are bigger, and then everything's messy, but it's actually just made less carefully.
right.
Again,
okay.
I could wax poetic about
Yeah,
this, but
yeah. But
Yes.
that's the essence of
I'll
it.
rein it in. I'll rein
Yeah,
it in.
yeah. So basically, it's a lack of ability, skill, time, effort, and everything that caused this to
I
be the
love
way it is.
I love it.
Yeah.
And we'll just segue here for like a 30-second rant on
Yeah,
you
yeah.
being like,
Yeah.
vision
Oh,
is
I can go.
shit, vision.
Dude,
blue."
that's what I mean. Like, guys, this is the thing. When you told me that you're getting on, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to pull myself away from getting into that topic.
Yeah.
But here
and
we
I
are.
survived
We're
like
not
6
even-
minutes into it.
Like, we're just
Yeah,
started.
I need
Yes.
your opinion. Yeah, but that was amazing. I was like, I just need a true professional who knows what they're talking. Not me. See, I am the consumer, just like any consumer comedy show, right?
Consumers are the professionals in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah.
In a
Like,
way,
what,
fair enough.
What matters
Exactly,
is who
yeah.
consumes.
They're the ones who are consuming. You may know your stuff, but they're the ones who are buying, right? So as much as you may trash, let's say Uncle Roger, he is as most
Yes.
said, he's selling stadiums, and you're
Yeah.
selling like your bathroom, right?
Right.
Kind of
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So that it is what it is.
Yes.
But my curiosity is like the phenomenon. See, comedy is very subjective because you know your sense of humor and everything. But like for example, you don't lick the floor because the flavor of the floor is nothing appetizing. It's understood. You get it? Like, no one's going like, dude, I have a fetish for floor. Like, maybe you got like 5 people, right? You don't have a line of people who are like,
true.
dude, I'm into floor licking, right?
It's true. It's true. I mean, maybe you're finding a new community now. By
Maybe.
hey,
Yes.
Maybe
shout out to all the
these years-
floor
yeah,
lickers.
exactly. They're like, we hate flavor. We hate the good.
I mean, you would probably know this even because you live closer to it. Like the last few months, even I passed by, there was never really a line anymore. So I think people are catching on to it.
Yeah.
To be fair, also the line at Bakehouse is very reduced.
Yeah, it's reduced a lot.
Like,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is just like a Hong Kong economy tanking or the flavors change. What do you think if you are since you are in the business?
Yeah.
slash
In the
just
business, I mean,
yeah.
luckily I've been away from this city for a month, so I haven't
Yeah.
seen the shift in the lines. But
Yeah.
I think that I think Hong Kong is very much a trend city. I mean, we all know
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
once everyone's tried Vision a few
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
and like. I think the lines start to reduce
Yeah.
and everyone finds the
They
new
get it,
thing.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's such a revolving wheel
Oh,
that I
absolutely,
think
yeah,
what's
yeah.
key
What's
is like
hot and it's not, yeah.
maintaining consistency and having product that's like there for you all the time,
Yeah.
not this like ever evolving wheel of like crazy new shit.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I told a few listeners that some of our regulars that you are coming on, and pretty much everybody asked me the same exact question that I'm sure you are aware of. People are talking about the conspiracy of blasting your exhaust fan on the street, and you're like, "Is this deliberate?" Because it pulls people in like zombies.
Okay, so
And they're saying it's. I've heard this exact word from 2 different people. They're like, "Tell them this is evil."
evil.
Evil, as in like it's like
No.
not in a bad. It's like it's like
This is Ebenezer's, man, on the bridge. Same deal, right? Yeah, same
Yes.
thing what they're doing.
So
yeah.
they're like, this is
No, I wish I could say that it was like this amazing marketing scheme, but
Yeah.
honestly, when I first started, it was just the little corner shop, and
Yeah.
that's just the exhaust. We just have to get the heat out of that bakery. Like
But you can pull it up. I think it's actually.
I don't know. I'm not-
Yeah, I have no. Yeah, it just happened the way it is. You know,
It's
physics.
just
You
how
know.
it happens to be.
I
Yeah.
feel
We
like as fans go, they usually go
Yeah.
point up.
I think maybe we were trying not to like pipe that straight into the apartments above us.
Yeah.
So instead, we just put that out into like Club 7. Do people still call it
Yeah,
that?
Club 7-Eleven
Yes.
or whatever it's
Yes.
called. Yeah. That corner shop. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think so.
But yeah, a lot of drunk people
Yeah.
need to smell carrot cake. I
Yeah.
think it's just good for them.
But
and a lot of
then-
like people on their way to work need to smell carrot cake. And,
Yes,
you know?
but smell it. But then you stop serving to actual like humans at like what 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Exactly.
I know.
And you
I
guys are
know.
in there at like 12.
We're in there all the time.
You're in there all the time.
they're in
It's
there all the time.
blasting smell, and
Yeah.
then I really imagine people like banging on the window like zombies.
No, okay. So, true
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Before the bakery got bigger, because
Yeah.
we were one shop and then we became 3 shops.
Yes.
Before the bakery got bigger, I was in there at night, working by myself. My shift started at 1 a.m. and I was there like setting up pies and doing my thing.
Yeah.
And this guy comes in, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh Lord!"
The
like
door,
I
the door
don't.
wasn't locked.
The door isn't locked, but
Yeah,
like
you don't
because well,
expect-
it's also
yeah.
like a fire hazard because
Yeah.
there was only one door. So
Oh,
like if
so
I
you
locked
have
the
to
door,
keep, yeah.
like,
Anything you can't run out. Yeah.
but
yeah.
also it's Hong Kong. Why do I need
Yeah.
to have the door locked?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And this guy like helps himself into the bakery, and I was there alone, and there's like no other exit, and I
Yeah.
was like, I'm trapped. I'm like, hello.
Wait, what do you mean help himself? Is he actually
Just walked
eating
in.
stuff or
He's
just
like,
walking?
he's like walked in
Okay.
and he's like, I need, and I was like, no. Like he's like
Yeah.
coming towards me, and I was like actually kind of scared. I'm
Yeah.
tough, but I'm actually not. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
I seem tough, but I'm really like squishy and,
Yeah.
and like very scared.
I have seen you do handstands like it's nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, when a
Oh.
guy
So wait,
just barges
that,
in, what's she
that's
gonna, like-
bullshit, by the way.
Like, yeah, she can do. What, she's going on her hands, and be like,
Handstand
"Get out of here!" That doesn't
You
scare
can do
him.
like a Spider-Man thing. with,
Like, he's drunk,
If
like,
you've
it's-
seen her at yoga. Like
Yeah.
you're like, she is so flexible.
Well, like what?
Strong.
Like
I'm tough, but yeah,
Mo,
this guy.
Mo, use the logic. Okay, let's say this guy barges. I need cake, and she's like, watch me get on my hands, and he's like, the world's upside down. I have to walk away. Like, what do you think is gonna happen, man?
Maybe she would just like get him with her zen.
yeah, we just gotta calm. We're gonna
Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
inhale
And leave.
and exhale.
Exactly,
Get
yeah,
the fuck
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Exhale out of
exactly,
my
yeah.
store.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, he walks in.
He walks in and he's there. He's like kind of pounding on the table, and I'm like, "What do I do? Do I give the mouse
Also,
a
he
cookie
was like
or
clearly
do I?"
drunk, right?
He was really
Oh,
drunk,
yeah.
and then he like
man.
sits down. It was like a whole scene. It was fine. Ultimately, it was fine.
man.
Luckily, there are beautiful team members within the team of the restaurant
Yeah.
group
Yeah.
that you can call, and they come and like help you.
Wait,
Yeah.
at 2 in the morning?
Oh yeah. Anytime.
What?
Yeah, amazing.
There's like
amazing.
a 2 in the morning, but
There's
like
a 2 in the morning, because we have so many restaurants.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
but-
you're like, and I won't say names, but like,
Yeah.
please, and then they just like show up and they're like big and intimidating, and then the
dude.
guy is like out, and I was like, thank you, back to my baking.
That is
And
so
that's
but yeah,
how she met her
so-
husband.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I like
That
cake.
creep who wandered into my bakery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll give you way more than cake, buddy. Get my pastry. I'm talking about. Yeah, so this croissant. Let me just say, it's not flaking. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh man, I went off the rails very quickly.
Here we go.
Wait. Dude, this is so cool. So now people know that should they decide to attack, let's say, a black sheep or generally a restaurant in that area, at 2 in the morning thinking like, I'm the man, I'm going to go get some cake.
Yeah.
You just have to like dial a certain number, and like, is there a certain code of like you know like how comedians you tell the security that, or if I say, oh, you know, get this guy a glass of water, that means reject this person.
Oh, is that's a thing?
a lot of them because they don't want to
Yes,
make it up,
yeah.
say get this guy out. They're like, oh, I think you need a glass of water, sir.
And then
continue.
they sneak over
Then
and
the
they like
security, like, yeah,
they like
come
help
with
to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry. We
Yeah,
need
come
to
with me,
talk.
sir. You're gonna
Yeah.
get a glass of water, and they like eject them from the show.
Yeah, no, there's team members who are there for some of our events where people tend to get real shit faced.
Yeah.
That are there just to make sure that our team is taken care
But
of.
then
all the
there's
guests
no
are taken care
there's
of.
no code word or code set. You don't be like, hey, I need a bit more of a
The code
flour.
word is
I
beat the
guess-
shit out of this man, please.
Yeah,
Yeah, break
exactly.
some kneecaps,
Yes.
bitches.
Exactly.
No.
Oh man, I need an ornament.
Yeah.
I have
I need
seen
an
that
ornament.
gentleman who I think one of the guys you're referring to, he's like a brown guy. Like
Oh, he's a
very-
tall turban guy.
No, not the tall turban guy who also was a topic on this podcast
Yeah.
before because a lot of women find him quite attractive. Oh, there you go. You are totally agreeing.
Oh, right over there. That's it. Yeah.
But no, there is another guy who is like wearing a suit a lot of the times. He's like brown. I don't know what his name is.
There's a few
Yeah.
few guys.
There's a guy who's like
I
walking
recognize,
around.
yeah.
Honestly, it's just a nice thing to feel really supported within
But
the
I've
community.
seen him
that you're
break a fight / like try like it was actually at a Burger Circus
Oh.
and it was during COVID, and like we're just like right outside and some drunk idiot trying to go at the like he was trying to break up a fight and he just went for him and the guy tossed him like a child.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was like
It was so funny.
That is so cool.
Yeah, he's like woof. Yeah. It was almost, you just want the like that cartoon.
yeah,
like,
he just looks irritated.
Yeah.
No more of that.
And yeah, and then he just like did like a James Bond like fixing his suit thing and
Yeah,
just
like
kept
just
walking.
dust it up. Yeah, dust it up. Yeah.
It looked very comical.
Yeah.
So okay, so let's visualize. I really need to visualize this whole thing. Okay, so you picked up your phone, you did toot, 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 and you were like, I need a bit more of icing sugar, and the guy's like, I got it. Yeah. So
That's
how-
code for something else.
That's code
But
for-
anyway.
Hey, the tall
Yeah.
German guy just said. You know what I mean? Right. So 3 minutes later, right? 3 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah, five.
Right? 5 minutes, right?
More like 3 than 5, but yeah.
All
So
right. Gosh.
shows up and like the door just slides open and
Now-
the guy's like all slumped and
Yeah.
then the guy is just like.
So
helped.
during these 5 minutes, what's the protocol for you? Do you entertain this person and keep?
I
them
don't
in
have
the
time
past?
for that. I'm making
Oh.
pies, my friend.
Yeah, yeah.
I told
so,
you the start
yeah,
of
you're
the
making
story.
stuff.
is
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
busy.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea what the process is. To me, according to some bakeries, it's just like press the toot, 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 and things come out.
No, I'm like in the weeds.
Yeah.
I'm in the weeds because
So
when the
this guy's sitting there.
This guy's just sitting there. I'm like, my heart's like, da, 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 da.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
trying not to be stressed, but I'm also trying to be cool because I'm
Yeah,
the
yeah,
boss.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
of
like,
course, yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, we
I
got
shouldn't
this, you
freak
know.
out. I've already called. Someone will be here. This
Yeah.
guy doesn't scare me because
Uh-huh.
logically he shouldn't, right?
He should, yeah.
I shouldn't be
You're-
scared.
Yeah.
I mean, you
you're
also
not
have
wrong.
stuff to give him. Like, you can just give him, obviously, just
Yeah.
throw cookies at him,
Throw the
right?
crumbs at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the little cutoffs
Like,
that
I
you don't
mean,
need.
like when they say, like, when you have a shop and you're getting robbed, just give them what they
Just
want.
give them what they
Right,
want. I
yes,
mean,
and he's obviously not there to, like, chat.
No,
He just
and
wants
that was
cake.
the thing. I was like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't be scared. So
Yeah.
I had no reason to be scared, and I just kept on. The word is fonçage. I was fonçaging my pies. It means
What
like
is-
to
what
line.
what is fonçage?
Fonçage? Vision.
Yeah, yeah.
Fonçage, it just means to put the dough inside of the pie tin and make it look nice, like make the little crinkly edges. So I'm
Yeah,
like
yeah.
fonçaging and staring him down, being like, he won't move, he won't
Yeah,
move.
yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like a
yeah.
stare off with like a bug in your
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
bathroom.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
like,
just
if I
like-
look at it enough, it won't come near me.
Yeah, do
It was
the
like-
cowboy stare.
Yeah.
Let's backtrack. How do you get into being a fonçage expert?
Yeah.
That's your new title now.
I love it. I love it. I got into being a pastry chef from a pretty young age. I was in high school and I was planning to go into neuroscience. I was going to be really smart. I was a nerd. I ate lunch by myself in the library every day, which logically led me to pastry. No.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I was working part-time in a bakery and I really loved it.
Wait,
And,
what were you working as in that bakery part time?
um,
Were you like neurosciencing them?
No, I wasn't even neurosciencing them. I was like 15. I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was just trying to make some money, like support my mom, support my family.
Whatever, yeah.
And so I was like making tarts and cakes and learning how to decorate things, learning how to come up with like flavors of creme brulee, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And my brother was like, "Don't get into food. It's
Yeah.
no fun. It's no good. You'll never make money."
Is he in F&B?
Of course not. No, my whole family are engineers. Everyone
Right.
was like, "Be smart," and I was like, "Rad, I'll do it."
Yeah.
And so I was like, "I'll go into neuroscience." And then my mom, she's like the black sheep of the family, was like, "Hey." She was like, "But you love baking," and I was like, "Yeah, but that's not a real job." I was
Right.
like, "I'm gonna go to real college," but she's amazing. She was like, "Follow your passion. If you're interested in this and you think that there's like a future for you that would make you happier, like give it a try."
Yeah.
And at that point, I was in all these like nerdy study groups,
Yeah.
and I was like baking stuff every week, and I was
Yeah.
so
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 excited.
you'd be the baker that would bring stuff, and
Nice.
Every,
Yeah,
week, every week, I was like, "This week is marble cheesecake," and everyone was like, "Oh my god!"
That must have made you so
Dude.
popular.
It was
Yeah.
the only way I could make friends.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like the only person I knew in high school who had a tattoo and like baked stuff, and I was like, but otherwise I was such a nerd. I was
Yeah.
like such a juxtaposition. People
Yeah,
were like,
yeah.
"Is she
Right.
cool or not?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm just gonna keep confusing you."
Yeah.
But so I applied to the Culinary Institute of America, which is the closest thing to like a real college
Yeah.
for pastry chefs, because you can get a degree in baking and pastry arts management.
Wow. Wait, what?
Yeah.
What's pastry arts management?
Baking and pastry, not just pastry, but baking and
Oh.
pastry arts management. You can have an associate's or even a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
In what, like, so when you have that, are you able, like, do you learn how to create new, like, completely new inventions?
Yeah. So you have all sorts of different modules. You learn about culinary math. You learn about like yield testing. You learn about menu design, team management, basic
So
psychology, art and design. Yeah.
Question is this: in the menu design session, do they teach you how do you choose when it is chef recommendation and when it's not?
I don't
Is there
recall that.
criteria? Is that something that you must tick these boxes before it's a chef recommendation?
Good question. I don't recall there being like a specific like sort of calibration of
Yeah.
what becomes a chef's recommendation.
Yeah.
But we definitely talk about like how to highlight certain things, where things should go on a menu, like menu psychology, which I found pretty
The big
interesting.
3 items over there, and you got the small ones.
The small ones, and like how you scatter the prices and things
Yeah.
like this. Yeah.
Or
you're
give us a bit of a crash course on menu, like, if, on menu.
Well, so I
Design.
mean, the basic thing, I think about it more from a chef's perspective than a design perspective, because luckily I don't have to design a lot of menus. But from
Yeah.
a chef's perspective, you have to have your like best-selling items that make some sense food cost-wise, and then you have to have things that you just like know are going to waste money, but
Yeah.
people love them. You know what I mean? The pistachio raspberry tart of it all, like
Yeah.
that's going to cost way too much to be profitable.
Yeah.
But it brings value to the brand.
Yeah.
And then you've got to have a few slam dunks that are just like really easy labor, low food cost, and even if they don't sell as much, they
So
kind
that's
of
like
fill out your
French
menu.
fries, for example, in a
Sure,
regular
sure,
restaurant,
sure,
like
sure.
something like
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
It's not going to take much labor. It doesn't cost much. It also
Sure.
doesn't bring you much revenue, but it helps to bring like a more balanced experience.
Okay.
So you've got to kind of play the synthesizer of these
So do
different
they
things.
teach you, like, for example, let's say you know your product sucks, okay? And do they teach you, like, okay, if you just have it on a display, the best way to hide that product from continue sucking is you write the name of the product on a display to kind of hide the food with the words in front
Big
of it.
display, big font.
Big- yeah.
That wasn't something that I was taught at
Yeah.
at America's premier culinary college. But I'm sure maybe now kids are being taught this. It's
Probably,
been a
yeah.
while since I've been in college.
Yeah, some
to be
hacky
honest.
college that was like, oh, you spell vision with 2 S's, you know?
Just trick them until you
trick-
get
they
them in
think
the
it's,
door.
oh, this is a spelling I've never seen. This must be good.
It's so
Yeah.
fancy.
Did
Yeah.
you hear, because the topic of the Vision trashing episode was mostly me trying the egg tart inside
The cookie.
the cookie thing. Did you hear of that before you know, I told you, like, or did you try it?
I've seen it. I know about it. And
Yeah.
look, okay, so after, not to like dive back into me, but like
Yes.
after college, I worked at a very well-known bakery in New York, and we were known for an item called a cronut, which is a croissant and a donut
You worked for
combination.
Dominique Ansel?
I was his first head pastry chef.
What?
What?
Wait, so you're the
Whoa.
reason people were like selling it in like the black market and stuff?
I can't say that I came up with it.
Yeah.
I started shortly after the cronut started.
Yeah.
So it's not mine. I would never claim it. Shout out to Anna. She's amazing. She made
Yeah.
it. But I worked for Dominique Ansel. I helped to expand his brand and opened his second and third and fourth and fifth shops. But I was
That is not something I knew about. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't do it. My research is talking to you. I
Here we
did
are.
not look up anything
No.
before beyond talking to you. But
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
working for Dominique was very cool. It was funny to like work in the place that
I've
originated
never
the
tried that
cronut.
thing, by the way? Like, because it was here for like a year or whatever.
Yeah,
it's gone.
he had a
And then
few
it's gone.
shops. He
Yeah,
had a
down
few
the
shops
central, he had
here.
two shops. Yeah.
Was it worth the hype?
Loaded
Yeah.
question,
Oh,
guys. Okay, so the cronut was never my favorite pastry.
Yeah.
But when you talk about these fusion pastries, when
Yes.
you're like, it was an egg tart inside of a cookie.
Yes.
I think in a way Dominique kind of started this.
Yeah.
Like he was a visionary in that sense. He was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna make a croissant / donut. It's gonna be the same thing. I'm
Yeah.
gonna make a magic souffle. I'm gonna make a cookie shot. I'm gonna make these different things that
Right.
are very fusion. And it was very fun to work with and for him and to learn to innovate these things. But now as a pastry chef, if there's something that I find tiring,
Yeah.
it's people being like, it's a waffle but a pudding,
Yeah.
waffle, and you're like,
Of course,
what's
yes.
happening? Like,
Yeah.
So when it comes to an egg tart cookie, honestly, anytime I see these things,
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's a red light. Like,
Yeah.
nay.
That's clearly like a gimmick that they're like, oh, well, how do I get the two of them to buy the same thing twice? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're like,
I think it's also because obviously right around the corner is Bakehouse that is famous for the egg tart.
Yeah.
So I think they want to be like, well, while you're waiting, if the line is too long, we have an egg tart, but it's with a twist.
yeah.
We
And
force
it's
you to buy the
honestly,
cookie too,
it's,
yeah.
it's like jail time worthy.
Which, like-
this thing is so bad.
Oh no.
Yeah. I was like, it's hard. Like I'm not a foodie, and it's hard for me to like eat something. I'm like, oh, I am upset. Like I'm actually very angry eating this thing, and that was one of the few times.
I mean, I'll
that
give
I'm
you an
like,
example. Honestly, it's so
so
bad.
bad.
Let me explain to you how bad it is. Like, you know, like how a lot of charities, they will take, let's say, pastry bakeries and everything. When they can't sell the items, they'll donate it to charities for people to take it. I do a lot of charity work and work with a lot of charities. I have never heard anyone say, "Oh, we're going to collect the leftover pastries from Vision." They're like, "I think we have a heart. We would never."
we would not give this to homeless people.
Yeah, we're like, dude, how would you? That's mean.
Haven't they suffered enough?
Yeah, exactly. You know, so a lot of that, and that keeps, like, I think the reinforcement. This may be confirmation bias, but so far it's just purely confirmation. It's not confirmation bias. It's
You're
just
like, this is just,
Yeah.
we're just
Yeah.
saying what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So having you also approve, like not really approve, but I also agree with the idea of like having the egg tart in the cookie. Yes, you know, it sounds really cool. It's funny, ha ha ha. But come on, people, we're better than this.
Yeah.
Right? Unfortunately, they're not even better than that.
Wait, do
So-
you have any like funny stories working for the crouton? What is it called?
Cronut.
Cronut,
The
yes.
cronut.
The cronut.
Oh.
Did you have like friends who was like, you know, asking you like at midnight, like, hey, can you sneak us some? Like,
So, okay, there small funny stories, things like I would try and go to work and people
Yeah.
would be like, "No, you can't cut me." And I'm like, I have to
I
go
am
inside.
making it.
Yeah.
This was another time.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I didn't realize this how often I've had security personnel. We had security for that line.
Oh,
so
yeah,
the
of
security
course.
would help to make sure that I could get into the shop because people would be queuing up from like 2 a.m. literally.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's just like for a whatever item.
Yeah, it's not that.
It's like if it's
Yeah.
like the best burger in the world. It's
still.
if it's anything.
It's still worth a 4-hour queue. You're like,
Yeah.
no. We also
And
have
it's New York. It's like what fucking freezing.
It's
right?
cool, yeah. During
Yeah.
certain times, it's like it's absolutely
Yeah, it's
frigid
not-
outside,
yeah.
and people are doing it. People would pay other people to wait in line for them, professional
yeah,
line
yeah,
waiters.
yeah,
right.
We had a couple of guys that were just like there every morning.
Every
we'd
day,
give
like
them
you
free
again.
coffee.
Yeah.
But in terms of like funny stories, something interesting that I learned is that we actually, this is kind of sad, maybe not sad, but we couldn't throw away any of our cronuts. If the cronuts were not usable to our standard, we had to rip them up because people would go through
pick it
our
up, right?
trash.
Yeah.
Oh
They
my
would go through our
God.
trash and like
Yeah.
want to resell the cronuts or like try them
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
take photos of them. And so like if you had a cronut pastry that was not acceptable, you
Yeah.
had to like rip it to shreds
Yeah.
and
Oh
like put it in the
God.
bin with other stuff, which was
That
like
is
so
sad.
silly.
Yeah.
You're like, my lord.
Fair enough. I mean, but that also happens with, let's say, like toy figures, right? Like there are a company that design like these proper figures and everything that if you buy it and let's say there's something problem with it, you take a photo of it and they'll replace it, but you have to show them a shattered piece of it, like a photo of it's all shattered before they send you a replacement.
Wow.
Yeah, because
I
they're
did
like,
not know that. That's
collectibles.
crazy.
Oh, yeah, it's insane.
What
So-
do you collect?
oh, a lot of those like Joker figures and stuff like that. So if you look outside, there's a whole bunch of these figures.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
we forgot to tell you that Vivek is actually mentally 12 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
That we should have opened with
Yeah, we
that.
should have-
I mean, we got a lava lamp in here. Like it all tracks. We're on board.
I mean, after talking about Vision sucking, I think I am 12 years old. They suck. Terrible. I don't like them. Yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
coming back to butter, are you when you are working there and are you being told like, hey, can you make these like items, or are you more like given freedom to create new?
Lots of
cakes and
freedom. Lots of freedom. It's been a really cool adventure. Like Black Sheep is always opening new restaurant concepts and they always need new desserts. And so there's a lot of freedom for myself and the team to make new things. There's not a lot of boundaries so long as it fits the concept. But
Yeah.
the cool
What
thing
i-
is,
what is your most proud like invention
oh God, that's so difficult to
for
say.
butter that is like currently in on
mean,
the shelves.
I haven't made new stuff in a while. I'm checked out. I'm unemployed now.
Yeah.
I think I would say my proudest sort of like recipe or achievement at Butter was the red velvet cake, or maybe the apple pie. It's a tie. It's a toss up because the apple pie is a twist on my mom's recipe. Love my mom, but she doesn't know how to bake anything. So the fact that I could like take her recipe, tweak it a little bit, add some beauty, and like make it a legitimate thing that like people love, and it's the only place you can really get apple pie in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And the red velvet cake, just because it's kind of a funny story. So I was like, I need to make a red velvet cake, but prior to working at Butter, I wasn't a cake lady. I was in fine dining. I was at Dominique Ansel doing French pastry. Like, I actually don't have like a good like deck of cake recipes.
Yeah.
So I was like scrapping and scrimping and trying, and I was like, I'm gonna make this red velvet cake, but it was like kind of not good. And I was complaining to my husband. I was like, it's not good. It's not good. He's also a pastry chef.
Whoa, wait,
I
hold
had
on.
been-
Whoa. This was, hold on a second.
Diabetes entered
Stir
the
the
chat.
pot, yeah.
The
for sure.
number of
How?
people who are getting heart attacks from just this couple.
It's us. It's
Yeah.
us. The Plaxes, you're welcome.
All right, okay, so he's a pastry chef as well, but he doesn't do cakes.
He's a pastry chef as well. I met him at Dominique Ansel. It was his first job. I was his boss.
Whoa.
Oh,
okay.
shit, you're like, you are gonna get on your knees, boy, and give me that ring.
Like make pretzels, yeah.
Yeah. Ah, wow,
yeah.
okay.
Okay.
So I met my husband doing work things.
Yeah.
I moved to Hong Kong. He chased me out here. But I was trying
Wow.
to make this. Yeah, there's a whole 3 martini conversation
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I was married before. It's fun. It's
yeah.
interesting. It's exciting. Yeah.
It is what it is,
we
yeah.
can get into it on the Patreon.
Oh.
Yeah. Patreon.com/HoHoPod if you want to know more about her private life.
Her private life and how her husband stole her from her other husband.
Yeah, a little
There you
bit.
go.
Whoa!
Hell
my
yeah.
God,
All right,
dude,
all right.
Jesus! Oh my God!
The
It is
sweet
flaky.
life.
Yeah.
The sweet life.
Very flaky.
A lot of
Hold on,
layers.
yeah.
Lots
Lots
of
of
layers.
layers.
Let me just.
Wait, so to wrap it up, the red velvet
Yeah.
cake. I
Yes,
was
yes,
like,
yes.
I was like crying. I was like, this red velvet cake, my recipe sucks. I don't know how to make cake. I'm a bad cake lady, and I'm doing this for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
And then he's like, do you want my recipe? And I was like,
Okay. Yeah,
hello.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've been. Why didn't you start with
Yeah,
this?
exactly. Yeah.
Because he, unlike me, he knew he wanted to be a pastry chef from the time he was very small.
Yeah.
And so like he has like a tried and true red velvet cake recipe, and he just like held back on me for like 2 weeks of my trials and tribulations.
Reason because he wanted to
He-
not interfere with you?
I think, as much as he's like the best man ever, he's like
Yeah.
also a man. And so
Yeah.
he was like, oh, I just didn't think about it. And I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
Seriously.
You were doing stuff, and I
Yeah,
was like,
like- And
Yeah.
he's like, I don't know. I knew you'd figure it out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but I wasn't figuring it out. And you
Yeah.
had the
And
answer.
you have the answer.
You could have
Yeah.
just given me a good
All right, Mo,
recipe.
as to quote unquote identifying as male
Yes.
people, if you were in that situation, what would be your true excuse? Not the one you tell her, but the
Yes.
true excuse of why you didn't give it to her.
It's probably because I was thinking of like football answer, like
really?
football results. Yeah.
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 I think
I'm
Not paying
I'm thinking
attention.
probably how many times, like how many games are left for Liverpool
Yeah.
to win the title, and like the new signing for Man City, and like how it's gonna affect our lineup next season. Like that's
so
because
she's
that's what I'm thinking of about 80% of the time. So
Oh my God. Wow.
legitimately-
I had no idea that was what's like in the
Yeah.
backtrack.
Yeah.
And you
That's
said
like
red
my
velvet.
screensaver is
Yeah, yeah.
usually the
Oh my-
EPL lineup.
I like this mental screensaver.
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, for me, it would be a little bit of that typical male alpha ego thing of like, if I just give it to her, she might make it really big, and it's my recipe, and then I have to be like, this recipe you inspired by. I'm not inspired by. It was my recipe.
Oh.
You can't be,
Yeah, well, I mean, it is inspired by him, but like I also made it better. So.
That's what I mean. So like
Oh,
you would make it better.
nice.
My point is that he'll give you the recipe, whatever. You will make it better. That better is the tipping point of what made it huge. And technically, he was inspired by him, but nobody's reading the little asterisk that says inspired by this guy.
It's
well,
true.
actually,
It's true.
his
It's
shop
true.
is going to be called Better, and it's just
Oh, that's
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah,
Feel
like-
better.
Yeah. Or I can't believe it's butter. Oh, right, yeah, better, right? Yeah. So that might have been the whole thing. And after a week, he's like,
He's
"God
just
damn,
like he's holding out. Yeah.
yeah, he's like, shit, she's not giving up. God, I gotta do this
I
typical.
can't
fucking-
listen to her whine
Yeah, I
anymore.
have to do the
Yeah.
husband thing. I'm like, let me fix it for you.
Yeah. Let me
I
call my
actually-
mom.
Yeah,
Funny
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
So I never mentioned this here. How we met is that I came to your yoga class. That was like probably like a year ago now.
It's been a while, yeah.
And I recognize you from Butter because I bought stuff from there before. We never really actually talked. I just bought stuff or whatever, and then we eventually started like making friends and talking. But funny enough, Jared was there the whole time,
Wait,
and
who's
I
Jared?
didn't.
Who's Jared?
The
My
husband.
Oh, husband Jared. Okay,
So
got
he's
it.
at every yoga class. Like even when I would go like once a week, he's always there. and I didn't know who you are. Like, I knew you guys knew each other, but I didn't know he's the husband. I actually thought he's just a very dedicated yoga student.
Yeah.
Who's like, I'm like, that guy.
Very
like,
dedicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just made a mental note of like, first of all, that guy is definitely jobless because he's there all the
always there,
time.
yeah.
He's always there, and also he's really good at yoga. I'm like, maybe he's like doing an instructor thing or
Right.
whatever.
We're like a connected.
But I never, and he's also has a lot of tattoos. You have a lot of tattoos, and I never connected that you guys are an item
Yeah.
until like you told me like very recently.
You
Actually.
know why you didn't connect it? Because 80% of your fucking brain is thinking.
It's thinking
It's on
of-
screensaver
Yes,
mode.
It's on screensaver.
It's so obvious. It's like
Yeah.
tattoo.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
that's-
actually
yeah.
have a lot of like very similar tattoos as well,
Really?
like tattoos from similar
on
artists.
purpose? Oh, similar artists.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like one of my tattoos is of a prominent graffiti artist in Hong
Yeah, yeah,
Kong,
yeah.
and so I got a picture of one of their graffitis tattooed on me that I thought was very cool. And then they actually the artist graffitied over their own graffiti with a new graffiti,
Yeah.
and he got that. And so like we have some like kind
Oh,
of cool.
The before, the after.
Yeah.
Oh,
We have some
that's
kinda
that's
cool-
Do you have one of those tattoos where like when you stick together it unites? Those?
No.
You should have one of those. Unite. And it's
Maybe,
like, yeah.
maybe one day, but
Maybe
not
one day, yeah.
not yet. Of course.
Maybe you don't have one who's like I'm with stupid.
And he's
Right,
like,
right.
haha, it's me. Yeah, no.
Because that would be the dream. Is like you have the tattoo, and that's the true test of sagging skin. Like you know, if you don't get
Who's-
fit,
who stays-
yeah,
who
who's
stays
fit, yeah, exactly,
nicer,
yeah.
longer.
Wait, does he feel betrayed that you left like the butter like the pastry chef in industry in a way?
No,
Or that he
he's my biggest, like, honestly, in life, he's my biggest cheerleader. He's my biggest champion. Like, nobody wants to hear, like, my mushy, like, I love my husband so much.
yeah,
but,
yeah.
like, all of that, plus,
Ugh,
plus.
yeah, that's kinda
It's
gross.
so boring.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
he's
do
the
that.
best. I won't do it.
So wait, hold on a second. When you were making your pastry, let's say you know like how you have that turntable to do the cakes and all that stuff. Has
You know
he
the word
ever?
turntable, very
Has
good.
he ever
Turntable.
just while you're spinning the table and trying to do the pastry and doing the icing and everything? Has he ever done the ghost movement where Patrick Swayze
Oh,
because
yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe now that I'm, like, not employed as a
Yeah,
cake
he
chef, maybe
might
that would
be
be, like,
like,
more
yeah,
hot
exactly,
now,
yeah,
being
yeah.
like, oh, baby, show me.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
that's so
yeah,
funny.
Yeah, you should kind of like hopefully now is a good test if he just make him listen to this episode.
I will.
And
I
then
will.
if he does, and then he's like, that's a good idea. Then you can be like, all right, you did listen to the episode.
did
I see
listen,
what you
you
did
did
the homework.
listen,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
I don't think he will want to listen to the Patreon because we're gonna go hard on the stealing husband situation,
Oh,
stealing
man.
wife.
God damn,
Indeed,
dude.
it's good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
good. There's some
Yeah.
funny stuff.
But
there.
and also like for listeners who don't know anything, I mentioned yoga randomly, and people will be like, "What the fuck?" We thought she's a pastry chef. What's going on with the yoga thing? Because that's came out of nowhere. You are a yoga instructor as well, certified.
I'm a certified yoga instructor.
Yeah.
So when I first moved to Hong Kong, one of my best friends introduced me to yoga. I had taken a few classes here and there, but I got involved with the studio and started practicing daily. And
Yeah.
it's been the best sort of foil or counterbalance to chef life.
Yeah.
Is making time to slow down, to breathe,
Yeah.
to move mindfully. And I never thought that I would want to teach yoga, but I knew that I wanted to learn more. So last year I took a 200-hour, which is like the base level
Oh yeah. When I was
certification.
training, yeah.
And actually, the company that I work for hospitality was like, could you teach some yoga classes like to our community? And I was like, ooh, I don't know how to teach. I'm nervous. I can't do that. But I did. And it opened up these like floodgates of like, oh, I actually love sharing this practice in this way. So I've been teaching yoga once a week, once to twice to thrice a week actually for the last year plus.
Yeah.
And it's become this nice little group, this kind of nice little community of F&B people, but also non-F&B people.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to explore that more as I become unemployed, which I am now. Yay. I'm going to be teaching more and more. I'm taking my 300-hour certification at the moment, which is just the next level.
So 300 hours on top of the 200, so total 500 hours.
So I'll have a 500-hour RYT
Wow.
cert. Yeah.
So wait, does that mean like every hour every class you're teaching is added to the hours?
Some certification programs allow your teaching or even just taking classes to count towards your certification, but the studio that I'm taking my certification at is really quite strict and serious. So the 500 hours are all actual like lecture and learning time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So in addition to that, I'm also taking classes, I'm teaching, I'm doing all these other things, but it's
Yeah.
500 hours of learning about anatomy and yoga history, philosophy, mantras, pranayama, asana practice, like all of it. So
What are the biggest like misconceptions about yoga instructors?
I think the biggest misconceptions are that you have to be flexible to teach yoga. And I think the biggest, maybe it's not a misconception, but the biggest kind of gap that I see in modern yoga is that people focus just on like movements and handstands and like being able to do tricks.
Yeah.
It looks good on Instagram, but like,
looks
there's
good.
nothing behind it. Yeah.
Ugh, my
It's
heart.
one of those,
My
yeah.
heart hurts.
Yeah, I know.
Like
Yeah.
I won't forget to have my mic close. my heart
say
hurts.
that. Yeah, exactly.
With the Instagram yoga.
Yeah.
But like I try and make sure that any class that I teach incorporates at least a little bit of meditation and
Yeah.
breath work because
Yes.
so many places just skip over. They're like, settle in.
Yeah.
Okay, now downward facing dog. Let's move.
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
flow. Let's sweat. Let's burn. And I'm like, no, we got to breathe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bebs, the whole thing. We got to start with the
Yeah.
breath.
Yeah, you do a lot of like smaller breaks in the middle of I guess postures movements with a lot of breath work,
With a lot
which is actually I think the one that I come to yin yang usually is 75 minutes, and I imagine it's because of that. Like you want to allow certain like time for breath work, right?
You need to have time for breath work. You need to have time to slow down. Like traditionally, classes were always 90 minutes or even longer. So the fact that everyone's trying to package yoga into
Yeah.
this like 45-minute like lunch break yoga,
Yeah.
like, it's great. It's still movement.
Better than
It's
nothing.
still
Yeah,
beautiful. Absolutely. But for me, the biggest, again, maybe not misconception, but the
Yeah.
biggest gap in modern yoga is not making time for the foundation, which is
Yeah.
mind and body connection, which comes from meditation and breath. So
Yeah.
that's my yoga soundbite. But I'm really enjoying to teach yoga.
Would
to
you
share
do it
yoga.
full time?
I would like to do it full time.
Hmm.
I know that like that's a bit of a challenging thing to make financially soluble,
I mean,
mean,
if you have
dude,
your own
if-
studio, no?
If Vision doesn't run out of business, what's stopping you from doing that?
right?
That's
I'm
true.
like
Yeah.
so I'm really just open minded right now about
Yeah.
what my like future prospects are.
Hmm.
So I'm going to teach. I have some opportunities to teach.
So would you do like one-on-ones?
Yeah, of course.
One-on-ones, one-on-twos, whatever.
Yeah,
like, you're
yeah.
happy to anyone who's willing to genuinely learn.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. So small format classes can be really effective because you can tailor more to what people's goals are, whether that's more physical strength
Yeah.
and like
Or the
specific
mental
postures
yeah.
or more like
or help me check
calming.
out if I'm messing it up without realizing all these years. Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
Or like group classes that are more for kind of community building,
Yeah.
which is what we're doing now. So the classes are usually 5 to 8 people, 5
Yeah.
to 10 people. And it's nice because you see some regulars, you make some friends, you move together. It's great.
Yeah.
Or like bigger stuff, corporate stuff. Like I'm really open. I'm happy to teach in different formats. As a chef, you're
Yeah.
always kind of a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've found teaching to actually be quite natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm great at it yet,
Yeah.
but it comes naturally to
Yeah.
me to speak and not be nervous in front of people,
Yeah.
and to give guidance and direction. So
Yeah.
it's been really fun to share something that makes people feel so good.
All right, I can tell you there's a really simple idea. It's actually on par to the egg tart cookie idea in a way, but it's a bit better. It's called bake and breathe. Right? Because while you're baking, there's a lot of time of waiting. So while you're waiting for it to bake,
Ooh.
you do the breathing thing.
Yeah.
You go in, you mix a
Yeah.
cake, you
Yeah.
put it in the oven,
And you come and
take
do
a
the
stretch,
breath work,
you
and
take
you're
a flow,
learning
60 minutes
patience.
later.
Yeah.
Bing.
Yeah.
And then
Oh my
at,
God.
at the end, what you do is then you have a little room where people put on goggles and they have baseball bats where they bash microwaves.
Wow.
They bash those instant cake mixes. And that's when they're like, I will no longer be impatient.
Bake and break and breathe.
Yeah, exactly. All the bees, baby.
BBB, yes,
all
exactly.
the bees. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's all that kind of thing. Yeah. So there's a lot. I can guarantee if you had something like that, people who are probably like in the financial industry, like I need to break something.
I wasn't expecting the break
Yes,
it
me
as
neither.
the
But
curveball.
like, it's also
But I'm telling you,
Vivek,
man,
he's
like, dude, like you
he's
will have
very
people-
creative.
Yeah,
Yes.
you need to like go out there, break shit, and be like, what am I doing with my life, man? It's not what life's all
well, it's
about.
a lot of like,
Yeah.
I mean, all of these things individually exist. There is like the break room or whatever. Like
I've
the-
heard about
Yeah.
these.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard
I
about
would love to
these.
go. Anybody, someone write in. Where
How
do we
do-
go?
how do we go?
Yeah. How do we go? And can you get us the 3 of us in
no,
for
there's
free?
one right down here.
Is it just
Really?
like the trash receptacle part?
No, no,
He's like, I just keep giving money to the guys that are there, and they let me throw stuff.
no, like, you see, no, that place basically you have to bring your own baseball bat.
Yeah.
It's called Vision. That's right. You go and beat the shit out of all this up there. Right?
Nice.
What are you doing? I'm kneading your fucking dough.
Okay, that's I think what the normal people call a crime. So
Yeah,
let's not.
a little bit.
Hey,
little bit.
that's when you start helping prisoners
Yes.
do bake and breathe and break.
Yes.
In prison. You know what I mean?
It's like their field day out.
my
Exactly.
God.
Yeah,
We'll all
yeah,
go to
exactly,
the
yeah.
break room.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, hey, selfishly, while we have you, I would like to learn a quick like recipe to make like some fun desserts at home.
Oh my god, a quick recipe to make fun desserts at home.
Yes.
You know what I do?
Yes. Well, you don't like desserts, but
Oh, you spoiled it.
oh, damn it.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, do you know what I do? I take 1 part corkscrew and 1 part wine bottle.
Yeah, and
that
there
up
we
in
go.
the morning. There we go.
You're
Bada
done. Yeah.
bing.
Hey.
No, like,
Dessert.
yeah, is there like a brownie recipe, like something really easy that me and the listeners can make?
I mean, I wish I could give you something, but to be honest, we even tried to do just like a simple take it home and bake it thing. Like it was like a tray bake. It was already
Yeah.
ready, like a raspberry crumble, and like nobody bought it. I think Hong Kong is the laziest city in the world.
Yeah, dude.
Sorry, love you.
Yeah.
When it comes to baking, I don't think anyone wants to make anything.
Yeah,
at
because
home.
everyone's thinking like, hold on a second, let me understand this. So you're gonna provide me with the ingredients, which I get myself.
Yeah.
And tell me what to do. I'm like, that's not the point here. The
But-
point is you do it. I enjoy it.
No, honestly, even if you tell people how to make things, no one wants to make anything at home. It costs
Yeah.
so much more to make something at home than to make
Yeah.
it, than to just
to buy
buy
it, yeah.
it. But if you do want to make something, I mean, make some chocolate chip cookies. Simple.
Okay, well,
Butter,
you're-
brown sugar, some eggs, a little baking powder, some flour, chocolate chips. Like,
Yeah.
you know, just
right there.
Yeah.
Done.
done.
Ah,
Paddle,
easy.
paddle. Bake
Would
it
you
off.
would you put all of your original recipes into a book of sorts for us to learn, for us dummies?
There's a possibility. I would be interested to possibly create a little bit of a recipe book / life story situation at some point.
Yeah.
But I think more centered around kind of the adventures of chefing and less around specific recipes, because
Yeah.
I wonder how many people do
Yeah,
the
there's
fine
tons,
art
right?
of baking
Yeah.
at home.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. And on top of that, there must so if you're going recipe book wise, you're competing on that level. It's all
Right.
that we get. There's tons, you know.
I think there's so much about kind of the story of of the interesting like experience of being a chef.
Yeah.
I've had the chance to move to many different countries, live in a lot of different places, work for a lot of interesting people.
Yeah.
I think if I were to ever publish anything, it would be kind of a fusion of recipes, art, and also story.
Yeah.
That's all. Have you read Kitchen Confidential?
Of course. I
Yeah,
think you
okay.
have to read Kitchen Confidential
Yeah,
to like,
yeah.
be a chef.
Do you I obviously like his story, whatever. Like there is a level of like I guess sexiness to like the messiness of the kitchen and stuff. Can you relate to that as well?
Oh my
Even if
God.
you're a pastry chef, not
Oh my
like
God.
a-
Yeah. When I was 20 to 22, I worked in New York City in a fine dining French restaurant.
Yeah.
We were 3 Michelin-starred. We were 7th best in the world.
Yeah.
Like we had 200 covers a night. It was a very busy, happening place. It was at the top
yeah.
of its game.
Yeah.
And it was everything that you think of as like the kind of crazy kitchen, being like you show up 3 hours before you clock in, you stay
Yeah.
4 hours after you clock out, you work hard, you party hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not most nights, but I would say a few nights a month at least, I didn't even have enough time to go home, so I'd like sleep in Central Park. Like it was
Wow.
oh yeah, it was crazy.
And you're like
we'd-
getting paid well in a good restaurant,
you're
and
getting
you still
paid shitty because you work in a good restaurant.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how it is. Because you want the name on your resume.
Ah, right,
so you get
right,
paid
right.
next to nothing.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
you go out with all your commies and
yeah,
other
yeah,
chefs,
you're
and
like-
you get completely just like
Wow, yeah.
and then you sleep in the park and you wake up and you like dust yourself off and do it again, and you work super hard and you get yelled at. Like I had a chef who would like time our bathroom breaks. He'd be like, "Chef, I need to leave the line to pee," and he'd be like, "Okay, 2.5 minutes." And you'd be like, this
Yeah.
isn't sanitary.
Yeah.
But you'd just like,
you're
you'd just
done,
run. Yeah. I saw there was a night service. Somebody went down on like this peach dish. They didn't have enough peaches, and we're in like the Upper East Side, and he's like, "Go get more peaches," and you're like, "There's literally nowhere open. It's 9:30 at
Yeah,
night."
yeah,
But like this
exactly.
poor guy Vincent like leaves the line to like run to try and find white donut peaches at 9:30 at night.
they have to be specific kind of peaches
Of course
too.
they
Yeah.
do. This
Are
is
they the
Michelin,
white donut-
baby.
are they like
The little donut shaped
Yeah, yeah,
ones.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
and he
donut
needed
shaped
to
one.
poach them in like
Okay.
lemon verbena, like on the station. Like so, yeah, you deal with the craziness of
One last thing though, with all
Sure.
the craziness, it's led me to ask one question: if you were to cook scallops
oh God,
and you were to serve it to the front, whatever they call it,
sure.
and that chef finds it raw, why does the chef have to slap the scallops and then tell you it's raw and then put it on TV? What's the necessity of that?
I mean, everyone likes outrageous shit, no?
Yeah.
I would never cook scallops, mostly because I'm a vegetarian.
Ah.
Sorry. Ew. Ew. I'm like, ew, raw scallops, gross.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone wants to make a big splashy show.
Yeah.
It's raw.
Let
Let me do it. Close the show with that.
I thought maybe it's one of those etiquette things with chefs. Like, you can't just say it's raw, man. Just try again. You're like,
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I literally, I was on the service line, and there was this giant chocolate sculpture, and it was kept on this tall shelf because
Yeah.
my chef was tall, and he's like, "Get it down," and I was like, "I can't reach," and he's like,
Yeah.
"Get it down," and I'm like, "I can't reach," and I like, as I'm getting it down, it like fumbles out of my hands, and I break this like
Oh,
massive chocolate
yeah.
sculpture. He's like, "Why did you break it?" And I'm like,
like
"'Cause-
gravity?
I told you I can't reach.
because I told you I was about
Yeah.
to break it.
Yeah.
I said it. I called it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Go make another one," and I'm like, right now.
Yeah.
And I had to. I like ran downstairs and I like cried and I cried and I like made chocolate and I like made a thing. It was it's a vibe. Yeah.
Oh my
there you
god!
go.
Being a
Yeah,
chef
okay.
is insane.
Yeah, okay. That sounds. We had Fabio, who's a common friend of ours, on the podcast like years ago, and actually it wasn't me. It was Andy, the host before me, and he's still like he's actually a big Liverpool fan. So sometimes when I'm thinking of Liverpool, I'm also thinking
In the back, he works on the screensaver section of your mind.
So Fabio, shout out. He's executive chef for Falcone, two restaurants now.
Yeah, many restaurants.
Yeah, many restaurants. Karys, thank you so much for joining us. This is wonderful.
This was so fun.
Yeah, super fun.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So, how do people find you for yoga needs and general online presence?
Find me online on Instagram at Karys Loves Kale, as in like the vegetable. Karys Loves Kale.
One word.
Karys.loves.kale. Karys.
It'll be in the show notes, yeah.
Sure. And then yogatogether.hk. So Yoga Together is my yoga page, and you can find practice times and opportunities for us all to meet up and breathe and move.
Nice.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We're about to do the Patreon where we do a little bit more gossip and
Ooh.
yes.
All right. Okay, we're going there.
All right. See you guys on the Patreon. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Come to a live show. We have a bunch of stuff coming up before this gets too long. Just you'll find everything in the show notes. Thank you, and see you next week.
Bye.